myself to create and run through the first mission after you create your character. So unfortunately this episode will be short, and hopefully you will all get to see how I build my characters and how I enjoy making my characters. Um, that being said, you've got 3 classes that you can pick from. If you want to go heavy tank, you pick your Titan. You pretty much walk up, punch everything in the face, no problem whatsoever. I have very little problem surviving while playing as a Titan. Now, the trickier one is a Hunter. A Hunter has low armor, but is quick moving and quick to recover. These are your typical snipers, and a lot of times people say that this is the easiest class to play as. I myself disagree, as I find myself dying about every 40 seconds. And on top of that, the final class is your Warlock. These are a good blend of both. They focus heavily on recovery, but your armor can either increase or your agility can increase. This is the good mix. It's a good middle ground between the two. That being said, I myself am going to go with one of my favorites and go for a Titan. Maybe sooner or later you'll see me go for a Hunter or a Warlock, but that's only if I find myself wanting to hate myself. So until then, we are going to start with a Titan. Now you get 3 races to pick from, and obviously 2 genders per. You got your humans, your Wokens, and your Exos. As I play as a Titan, I typically pick the Exo class. I don't know, something about a robot just doesn't seem like it's easy to kill. May just be me. Anyway, from here you get to pick the facial structure, skin color, mouth, eye. You get to have all kinds of fun. Now I typically pick my characters to look all fairly similar, especially when they're Exos. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go for a red and yellow combination. Now you move on to the head features. You can pick from any of these features that are on here. Or you can have none at all. Either way, it all depends. Anyway, that being said, I'm going to go for, again, that dark red color. And call it good. Or maybe for once I'll decide to walk in the light for a moment. I figure since I'm going to be playing around with y'all, I may as well go for my typical faction of origin. Later on, we'll be allowed to pick a certain faction and decide who we put our backing behind. I typically lean for Dead Orbit, whose colors are black, gray, and white. But that's at a later date and time. So sit back, enjoy the show, and watch as I either get smoked horribly on this first round or survive well. To the best of my abilities? Well, something like that. You'll have to excuse my English. It's one of those days when I'm tired, and English may as well not even be my first language. Now, You may wonder why I decide to give you all my voice and not my my face. Well, that being said, I'm a bit of a coward, especially in that sense. I'm definitely not one for showing my face to too many people until I get to know them. So until I reach the point to where I either get viewers on a regular basis or I get comments and questions and things, which I'll be able to see and answer, hopefully, if anyone ever brings anything up. Now, I'll hopefully be able to see things and answer your questions and talk with you all. Until then, I'm going to be sounding like a raving lunatic in my own home.
And its arrival
for no reason whatsoever.
Great cities.
You'll have to excuse me on that. I tend to do that on a regular basis.
Mercury became a garden world. Human lifespan.
My voice isn't exactly
it was a time of miracles.
Pleasant, as far as I gather at the moment.
Stared out at the galaxy
but
and
this is the best that I can do right now, as I'm
light of other stars.
Not exactly in the best of shapes at the moment.
A darkness.
Hopefully I'll get into a better situation where my voice will sound a little bit more pleasant instead of like it's gone through a blender.
Age began. This darkness.
Anyway, as many of you may already know, considering most of you have seen Destiny.
But it was
most of you have probably already played Destiny. This is the beginning of the story. And now, depending on how long it'll take to freaking load, I will be popping up shortly. Now, I'm going to put one thing to rest right now. I unfortunately do not do player versus player. I don't do that. I have a special talent that I can't really use in player versus player. I'm a little weird. I can memorize player movements, everything I can predict. I'm like a little running computer, for those of you who've figured that out at the moment. I can memorize, predict, and envision where the enemies are going to end up being. The ones that I have trouble with are actually the boss enemies, as I don't get to see them too often. Except for this first boss here. As there are 4 Archons in the game. But that is a later mission. Now that I think about it, it's actually the mission after this one. Anyway. Now we get to have the fun, hopefully soon, if the ghost will find us. And there we go. The 3 classes for the first kind of enemy. You have a Fallen, Dreg, a Vandal, and a Captain.
Is it possible?
And here we go. Our very first revival.
There you are. Guardian. Guardian? Eyes up, Guardian. It worked. You're alive. You don't know how long I've been looking for you. I'm a ghost. Actually, now I'm your ghost, and you? Well, you've been dead a long time. So you're going to see a lot of things you won't understand. This is Fallen territory. We aren't safe here. I have to get you to the city. Hold still. Don't worry, I'm still with you. We need to move. Fast.
Alrighty. And the first mission begins.
We won't survive.
I didn't realize that would have lasted this long, otherwise I would have said that this wasn't going to be a short episode. So, Now with it taking as long as it is, this turns out like it might be a normal length episode. It all depends on how long it'll take me to get through each mission and everything that I need to go through.
Find you a weapon before the Fallen find us.
Now, as you may have guessed, I've played this about
They're right above us.
30, 40 times. Hey, look at Drake. Anyway.
Hang tight. Fallen thrive in the dark. We won't. We need more light. I'll see what I can do.
I've played this through, I don't know how many times. I've lost track. But this is what I do. Can't tell you how many hours I've logged on this game alone.
They're coming for us. Here, I found a rifle. Grab it.
And now the fun begins.
I hope you know how to use that thing. Watch for motion on the tracker.
Now, as you can tell, I can already predict these. Plus, most of them aren't even going to do much. Especially me. Considering I'm a Titan, I take the heavy defensive class, remember? Now, that being said, we're about to get our first special weapon. And hopefully soon,
A loot cache.
I will
Let's see what's inside.
move on. Oh.
Trip mines. Don't touch them.
Now you can either duck like I just did, or you can eventually shoot them. I prefer to let the Fallen trip over their own mines, and then just punch them in the face.
The Fallen have a tighter
Now,
hold on
as I
this place
said, with
than I
this
thought.
class I can just walk through.
Just
I
a
can
little
walk
bit
through.
further.
I wouldn't exactly recommend
there's
this for
something
many
left
other players, though, or many other
This
characters.
was an old cosmodrome. There's got to be
As it
something
would be.
we can fly out of here. Incoming! Fallen ships! This close to the surface. Move!
Wow. Even I'm subject to a couple of misses here and there. Alright, anyway. The farther along you go, the harder it is to get rid of the enemies. Ah, there's our fourth class, the Shen. And frankly, one of the most annoying. Now there's one more final class, which is called
I'm picking up signs of an old jump
the
ship.
Servitor.
Could be our ticket out
They're a
of here.
little bit more heavily defensive and they give a little boost to the Fallen. Now I've leveled up, I can upgrade my subclass. There are 3 subclasses per class. Since I'm a Titan, that'll be my Striker, my Defender, and my Sunbreaker. Now, note, there's no emblem for my Sunbreaker yet. That's because it pops up at a later date and time, when I officially start the Taken King mission. A little bit harder to go through. But now that I have a grenade, things are going to be a little easier. No, I do frequent reloads. Not because
There's a
I
ship.
have to, but because
Clear them out.
it's smart.
All right. Let me see if I can get us out of here.
And there we go. That's our first mission. And the final bit of our
It's been here a while.
episode. I guess it will be one of the shorter
Hasn't
episodes,
made a jump in centuries.
as the longer portion of this
We're
took.
lucky the Fallen haven't completely picked it clean.
As the longer portion of this
We'll
was
fly.
pretty much designing the character and then going through the main
I
first
can make it
movie.
work.
This was a shorter episode because I have to wait for my colleague to create her character as well. Now, I do not realize I don't know what she'll create first, so I'm not exactly positive.
Okay, it's not going to break orbit, but it just might get us to the city. Now, about that transmit. Bringing you in. We can come back for them when you're ready. Let's get you home.
Ah, and there's our stranger. She's a figure that'll pop up repeatedly throughout the game up until we finish our first main branch. Then you see actually none of her after that. And here we go. We'll get our first look at the tower. And then once that's done, everything will be drawn to a close. Now, the reason why I say we'll be going to the tower first is because last time I ended an episode at this point in time, it got stuck. We got stuck and I couldn't go back on planet. So I ended up having to scrap the character and get rid of it, which really sucked. So my advice is, do not shut off the game unless you're absolutely ready to be done and you know you'll be able to get back on planet. Now, what ended up happening to me, I'm sure, is just a glitch from not completing all the blah that I had to do on the tower. Now, this in and of itself should only take about 5-6 minutes to complete everything that I have to do here, and then we'll be done. Anyway, our ship drops us off here,
Welcome to the last safe
and I'll
city
get
on
to
Earth.
show you
The only place the
2 of
traveler
the
can
main
still
parts
protect.
of the tower.
It took centuries to build. Now,
And here's
we're
where we get
counting
our
every day
first
it stands.
glimpse at our character's face.
And this
The
tower
ones that we
is
built
where the
on our own.
Guardians live.
Now you're going to notice a lot of people running around in here. That's because all these servers are public. Even normal mission servers. The only time that the server ever goes private is if you enter into a boss area. Now if it'll finish loading, that would be absolutely wonderful. Come on. Sooner or later I'm going to figure out how to edit this and get rid of this lapse of time. Because this is just appearing to be really awkward at the moment, as I have no idea what to do with the silence
Yeah, well, screw 'em.
and the space.
Yeah, they're good. Move 'em up the ladder.
Now my silent colleague, blech, will be a girl known as Salamander.
First time he woke, the moon rat.
And she doesn't want her name to be mentioned in public. She doesn't want it to be mentioned on the public scale.
Is near.
And she is actually one of the people that I taught how to play Destiny. I'm what you would know as a Sherpa here. I will teach people and I will show people the way.
Early watch.
Now this is Zavala, our Titan leader. He'll give you missions, equipment, anything, as long as you're a Titan. This is our hunter leader. This is who, if I picked the hunter class, I would go to. Fortunately, I did not. Then you have the warlock leader, who, if I was a warlock, I would go to. But again, I'm neither of those. So, now I go on over. And this is your main atrium. This is the main part of your tower. Now, again, I said that you'll notice these little blue names and things that are popping up on the screen. These are other players. They're other people who have popped up. Now, as a Titan, you go for a lot more of a close range approach for everything. So I recommend a hand cannon or an auto rifle mixed with a shotgun or a sidearm. You will hardly ever need a pulse rifle or a scout rifle, with the exception of if it's an exotic or a legendary. Now, those items are going to be a lot harder to find, but once found, provide a good boost in both light level and attack and defense. This is the ship area. This is where we go to pick up our ships and our sparrows. Now, I've got 2 other files, so you're going to see more ships on my screen. I already have these 2 unlocked. I have this unlocked. I have these. Now, unfortunately, I only have one of these over here. I'll be picking up the Waning Star. Now, the ships don't actually do anything except give you a better appearance. They let people know that you aren't exactly new to the game. Sparrows, however, have their own kind of class. You have different sparrows that you can ride just all over the place once you finally get access to them. Now, by far my favorites are the Eververse, which unfortunately I had to shell out a little cash for. But Velumbra, I'm going to be showing y'all non-pay to play, bleh, excuse me. So I'm going to be riding around in things that do not have to be paid for. Every bit that I will do will be non-paid for. My companion will also be doing the same. Now, to finish up today's mission, hopefully I'll get it right around 30 minutes. Again, I apologize for the length of these, especially with the lack of action that's been going on. Believe me, I wanted to do a little bit more than just this kind of awkward play.
Let us set the Guardian. Good work.
There we go. Now we are done. And we finish up by hitting level 3. And getting our double jump.
Hey, Titan, what's new?
Let's do it.
So, in order to reach that length of an episode that I want, I'm going to show you the third and final area of the tower. Now, I'll show you all the little secrets and all the little fun facts about this, either in the next episode or later on, once I finally have my companion again. Because otherwise I would not be able to show you this. Now this is the north part of the tower. This is where you will find your shader seller, who will sell you different things to color your armor.
Let's see.
Here's some example. You can change the color of your guardian once you reach a certain level. You also pick up your emblems here and things of that nature. On occasion, you'll also find a wandering salesman named Zur.
Please, Titan.
He's only here on occasion. Now this is the Hall of the Speaker, where I get to have a lot of my fun, because hardly anyone is ever able to get up to where I get up.
Not light.
And with that, I'm going to end this broadcast with a lovely view of... Now I forget its name. Of our traveler. Now, thank you and have a good night.